I made that when I was in kindergarten, and that's where I want to start today. I want to start with you all digging deep into your memories and reflecting on arts and crafts time from when we were little. I assume it's the same for most of us here. It was a time when we were given the opportunity to be creative and to follow nothing but our imagination. A time when we'd run home to our parents and implore them to admire our creations. Now jump back into the present day and ask yourself, when was the last time I did that? When was the last time I came home from school and was consumed with a desire to show off what I had made? For most of us here, it was probably in elementary school. And that's kind of sad, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be that way. We should all have the opportunity to be creative and to follow nothing but our imagination. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the Inspire Club that I founded at school and what it's trying to do to inspire the next generation of innovators and makers. However, this story all starts with what appears to be a simple, bland, and boring box. You see, this box is one of my most prized possessions. Not because it's secretly made of gold or because I got in an exotic location, but because I made it. I was blessed with being able to go to my dad's work one day, and what's great about his work is that they have a laser cutter, which is basically like the coolest thing in the world. So on the specific day, I was able to use it. So I started with making my simple little design, and then I sent it over to the machine, and I got to sit there and watch as the photons vaporized the material in front of my eyes. It was one of the most beautiful and awe-inspiring things I've ever seen. And that's why this box is important, because it was that aha moment that kindled the desire to make. After I made this box, I was consumed with a desire to be able to enable others to experience the joy that goes from seeing an idea turn into a reality. So I went about attempting to establish a makerspace on my high school campus. Before I go further, for those of you who are wondering what a makerspace is, I want you to imagine a gym, like Gold's Gym or 24-Hour Fitness. Now take out all the workout machine and replace it with things like ShopBots, CNC machines, laser cutters, 3D printers, vinyl cutters, and those type of machines, and you have yourself a makerspace. I felt that giving students access to this technology would take the emphasis that is being placed on STEM, science, technology, engineering, manufacturing, and it would move it beyond the classroom. I wanted to take the regulations away and see what epiphanies my peers could experience. I wanted to see what pure, unregulated creativity could accomplish. So the first step that I took to establishing this was gaining the support of the administration. Thankfully, I was not alone in this aspect because I had Mrs. Carlson, the career education coordinator, there to put me in touch with the right people. She put me in touch with Mr. Bateman, and we immediately hit it off due to our shared passion for technology and democratizing it. You see, Mr. Bateman had recently obtained access to a MakerBot Replicator 2 3D printer. This was a big deal because it meant that we were one of the only high schools in the nation to have access to this. We decided that this was to be the basis for our club. From here, we needed to turn this idea into a reality. So the most vital part of this was talking to the high school principal, Mr. Lichtel, to gain his support. So over the summer, we went about talking to him at a meeting where we attempted to convince him of the need for a makerspace. Not only was he fully impressed, but he gave his full support. And on top of that, he told us about grants that we could go about applying for. Naturally, Mr. Bateman and I went about applying for grants, and the high school was blessed to receive one worth $50,000. So we were able to found this space. Now, before I go further, I want to address the name. It kind of sounds cheesy, but the name Inspire Club was because I'm hoping that through it, there will be the next generation of innovators will be inspired to follow their passions and to be creative and to be themselves. Now, all of this effort we'd put into establishing the club, but now we needed people to join it. We needed a community to come form around it. Thankfully, through things such as Club Rush Day or the daily announcements, words slowly got out about the club, and now it's gotten to a point where twice a week, students come to utilize this technology to unleash their creativity. And they've created a vast array of products. Take Eric, for example, who modified a phone case to make a miniature microscope of up to 10 times magnification. And there's one picture there, and then there's another one right there. Now, this was 100% his idea, but it wouldn't have been made possible without the community. Through asking questions, Eric was able to learn how to use the design software and start his own journey of making. He's enjoyed it so much that he's gone out and he's bought his own 3D printer. Or take Bodhi, who was tired of using his prescription drug bottle to hold his bassoon reeds because you need to keep them wet. So what did he do? He went about attempting to make his own unique one. There it is up there. Through meticulously planning, he designed his first model. And although it didn't work and wasn't able to hold water, he went about asking people how they would improve it, and then he went about designing his second model. Or take Caroline, who, instead of being like everyone else and simply buying senior gear with the class insignia on it, is going about designing her own. She's making keychains with the 2015, the year that we're graduating. Through a trial and error process, she's honing in on the perfect design, and she's almost gotten it there. All of this stuff might be great and fascinating, but it's not the best part of a makerspace. The best part is when you ask someone what it is they're working on, and you get to see their face joyfully light up as they tell you what it is they're doing. It's the fact that they take pride in their accomplishments. It's the fact that they have a community there to guide them and put them in touch with the right people. That's the beauty of a makerspace, is that the technology might be great or create aesthetic beauty, but it's not going to operate itself. There has to be driven people behind it, people who long to change the world through utilizing technology. And that's already happening. One of the members, on his very first day, talked about how he plans to use 3D printing to change the Mexican economy. Now, before we step back, Mexico has a lot of rich natural resources, such as ore and like the metals and that type of stuff. So, yeah. So instead of, now you see, the entry price to going into manufacturing is very high because you have to buy all the machines and you have to buy a plant to produce it. So what he wanted to do is he wants to be able to build his own 3D printer where he can utilize a wide type of materials and create essentially everything. It would drastically decrease the entry price and would enable almost anyone to go into manufacturing. This kid's in high school, and he's talking about how he's going to change the world. And that's the beauty of it, is that a makerspace is where these people can come and they can share their ideas and they can be encouraged and challenged. Before I end, I came up here so that through my example, maybe one or two people would try to do the same thing. But more importantly, I came up here to challenge each and every single one of you to be creative. You might not have access to the tools available at a makerspace, but there's nothing there to stop you from trying to get them. There's nothing there that can stop you from establishing a community of people who challenge you and encourage you to do more in life. Ultimately, I challenge you to go back into the mindset of a kindergartner at arts and crafts time. Latch on to that passion for innovation, and don't ever let go. Thank you.